All right, guess we're ready.
Here we
Round
go.
two.
Round two.
I don't know. I mean, like our technology here. I don't know. But nice stuff every week.
If it gets laggy, just close your eyes and listen. But we have some visual stuff to show you guys.
All right. What's up, YouTube? Round two.
Round two. Here we go.
All right. Welcome aboard. All right. It is This Week in Reefing.
It's a new thing.
We're going to go through the same thing again.
Let's
just because it's here.
Start from the beginning. All right. This Week in Reefing. Hey, this week is all about some internal stuff, maybe some external stuff outside of BRS, but going forward, we're just going to explore like anything that's happened new in This Week in Reefing. Not like, hey, guess what's going on with my fish tank this week?
Maybe that, too.
I got a little bit of algae.
No, if you got something you guys want us to talk about, let us know. We'll hit it up. But you're going to see a couple of things today. First up, we're going to split the channels. There's a Bulk Reef Supply channel now and a BRStv Investigates channel. And
there is the, what?
There's some new talent, too.
Oh, yeah, new talent. Oh, we've got 3 new people coming to Bulk Reef Supply. Some of you, I've been watching the comments, some of you made some pretty good guesses. Some of the new talent is in the comments section. So you make some guesses, but we're going to get there. We're going to show you who.
All right. Also, hashtag Why Reefing Rocks. We'll share that in a second.
New CEO joining the team.
Mm-hmm. Well, this one's been in the works for a while.
Yeah.
So Andrew wanted to step down somewhere around last year, and now it's finally happened.
His
So share
awesome.
what that looks like to you guys.
All right.
We'll share some stuff with Greg.
Greg posted some, Greg Carrol, Reef Pack member, posted a really interesting question about lighting. We're going to talk about that.
We also have some stuff on this week's guessing, or the PAR Investigates.
Yeah, so if you guys watched yesterday's episode of Can the Human Eye Gauge PAR? Answer is no, but there was a lot of other questions that came up out of that, arose from that, that wasn't in the video. We're going to talk about those.
Mm-hmm. You're going to hear like a bunch of different things in there that we just didn't share.
Just awesome stuff.
Yeah, like I think we need to connect the dots together. So that'll be very exciting.
Oh,
all right.
And the last thing.
Oh, yeah. The last thing
What's
here.
in the box?
I get these gifts all the time. I've never gotten one from Louis Vuitton before. I'll share this at the end of today. But somebody sent me the craziest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. I don't know. I mean, I see people send me like engraved knives. People send us like new products. They send all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, we got these cups one time.
Oh yeah, nothing like this though. This is crazy. So we'll share that at the end of the day too. All right. So first we split the channels, and you might be able to guess what they are. If one of them is called Bulk Reef Supply Saltwater Aquariums, and the other one's BRStv Investigates.
I mean, if you're watching on this channel, the live stream, you might have noticed that just before we came in here, the channel changed, the page changed, the artwork changed. The little logo that you see commenting, which is actually Adam in there answering you guys' questions in the comments, that little logo changed. It's BRStv Investigates channel. Boom. Straight up. It tells you exactly what you're going to expect.
Yeah, 2 reasons. I guess one is because, like, you see a lot of people complaining you're getting like 8 million notifications every day from all the videos you're putting out. So let's split them up and like get a little bit more dissected on what you actually want to hear. And one of them kind of aimed at the first few years of reefing, where you really want to like know everything there is to know about how to set up this thing, every last product, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And how to do it, and top tips and tricks and stuff. And then the nerdier end of it with Randy and I Investigates. So the guy who wants to learn about refugium for the first time might not be the same one who wants to learn about
DLI and PAR and
half hour and PAR. So who knows? If you like both, subscribe to both. Mission accomplished.
You know, one thing that I really like about the Investigates channel, and it was in yesterday's video, and it's going to be in videos you'll see going forward, is we're kind of back to scripted content. Like, actually just really focused information, breaking down the data, and just giving it to you just like that. I really do miss those. A lot of people miss those.
I realized I hadn't done one of those since the 5-minute guide 18 months ago. And I'm like, I wonder if I lost the skill.
Nope.
I don't know. I felt like we did it better than ever, to be honest.
I think taking a break actually made it a little better. My writing skills feel a little better now. Like the storytelling.
Yeah, I don't know.
Learned a lot.
I'll hopefully keep it up. All right.
So splitting the channels. Anyway, here's what they look like. We actually got pictures
of
them.
it?
Yeah.
All right, let's show it.
So, this is the Investigates channel coming up.
Boom, that's us.
There you go. It's on, if you're watching on TV, you get to see all of us in this really cool tank. And if you're watching on YouTube desktop, you'll get to see a little snippet, and the same on mobile. But that's what the new channel looks like.
Cool. And
we also have the other one, too.
Oh, all right, there we go.
Hey, so if you're not subscribed to this one, go check it out. It's Bulk Reef Supply Saltwater Aquariums. This is the name of the channel, and you can find it. This is what it looks like.
Adam, Nick, send a link over there so people can subscribe.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so one of the things, though, that I really liked about splitting the channels, it probably wasn't, real evident, is now if it's BRStv Investigates, it's called that, what are you going to see here?
Probably investigate stuff.
Yeah, so it kind of allows Randy and I to focus all of our efforts. So I don't know, before, like 1 week it could be a gear guide, another one it could be
mistakes,
who knows?
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Well, I mean, we're shifting full bore into Investigates, and I'll be honest, you might still see like a mistakes video come out of us where we're like, you know what? From all the stuff we learned over the 12 months of doing Investigates, this thing was a mistake.
A whole new set of mistakes.
Hopefully we'll find hopefully we'll be able to produce a whole new set of mistakes.
Yeah, but the
keep
goal,
learning.
The goal is going to be a Ryan and a Randy Investigates episode each week, and then This Week in Reefing live stream.
All right, there we go. All right, next one. 3 new people join the team, and it's going to be over on the Bulk Reef Supply channel, so go check it out.
Yeah, drum roll. First one is, bring it up here. You guys might remember this one from the Marine Depot channel. It's Matthew, my first fish tank. Yeah, he's coming on to the other channel that we've been talking about, the Saltwater Aquariums channel, to do beginner content. Actually, what he's doing is he kind of cut his series kind of in half after the Marine Depot thing, and he's just going to pick it right back up where he left off. So he's got like 25 episodes to close that one out. We might even start seeing those as early as next week.
Yeah, so
Matthew.
Perfect delineation there. We got somebody just solely focused on helping new reefers in their new journey, and I want to just not just a series. This is permanent.
Yes.
It's got somebody totally dedicated to all of the needs of the newer reefer and helping them succeed.
Something that we haven't really done before. Like you see Investigates and advanced and intermediate content, you see product stuff, you see all kinds of stuff. We never really did have an avenue to focus on that 0 to 1 year reefer. That's what Matthew's for.
All right, next one.
This is one of personal favorite of mine. I actually follow his channel before we talked about him, and then he agreed to do some videos for us. He's in the comments here. Bahama Llama Coral Remy.
Is he here?
Yeah, he is in the comments. Can you refresh the comments too?
Boom.
He's in the comments. But yeah, Remy is going to join the team. He's going to make about a video, maybe 1.5 videos or so a week. There's going to also be on that Bulk Reef Supply Saltwater Aquarium channel. But Remy, man, the way he pitches, he's a radio DJ in his other time. So like his storytelling, his personality, his energy is really fun. All of his videos that he does, I just thoroughly enjoy. So we're going to see some videos from him. Actually, I think I got him started on one of his first videos, or first few videos, is going to be what it takes to set up a macro algae display nano tank. So he's going to go through all the gear and stuff that he's choosing for that, and what it means and why he would choose that gear, and help share that with you guys. And then he's also going to do some maintenance tasks and all the gear for that, and he's going to talk about a few products too while he's at it.
I watched it and I was like, man, this guy's got personality.
Yeah.
And then I didn't know about the radio DJ thing, and after I heard that, I totally understood. But I'm like, this guy shares like our DNA, and just like, man, wouldn't it be awesome?
Yeah.
And there he is.
Awesome.
So it's awesome. Welcome aboard. And then we got Elliot. So Elliot Lim from Marine Collectors told me he is willing to fly out here and do videos on fish.
Fish 101.
Right? Yeah, and so, here's my problem with fish videos in the past is it's like, here's fish X, it's collected in this area, it was named by this scientist, its color variation between this country and that country is like one
scientific
stripe
name,
different.
yeah.
I don't know. I just like, well, what does it eat?
Yeah.
Where does it come from in the terms of like habitat? Like what makes it really fun? What makes this fish so special and exciting? What is it that, like, how do I care for it?
Yeah.
You know, like this is what it eats naturally. How do we replicate it in the, like, you know, how often?
Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest ones is, you know, what can I expect to care for this fish? Because rather than looking on a website and having, you know, it might be reef safe, whatever that means, with caution or something with it, whatever that means, but you can actually tell me, like, am I willing to spend the effort that it takes to take care of this fish versus one that might be easier, and I can make my fish choice based on that. If I see that, hey, these twin spot gobies need to be very meticulously fed in a very specific way every single day, I might not have the time to commit to that.
Yeah, you know, one actually that like really inspired me when we were talking to him was the purple queen anthias. So I was actually out in LA and we were walking around some of the fish wholesalers, and I was like, you know, what about these guys?
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, don't get those. You know, they're just gonna die. And I'm like, I'm gonna save this conversation for later.
Yeah.
And then I had it with him later, like, okay, dude, is it true that we seriously just cannot care for the purple queen anthea and they will all just die and there's just no way around it?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, no, that's not the answer. Like, there's definitely a way to do it. Not necessarily that we've all found it exactly, but he's like, here's the challenge is this is an animal that eats tiny little critters all day long and burns a tremendous amount of energy and just has a real problem with nutrition in the aquarium. And like, I hate to say it, but like us reefers, we really treat like every last animal in the tank all the same.
Oh yeah.
Like, here's some mysis, that must just be good for everyone.
Here's some pellet food, I think everybody's gonna be happy.
Yeah, that's not the truth. So, you know, what he's talking about is not only like, okay, so the flip side of this is like, oh, well, what if I, you know, got a bunch of like calanus or some other little tiny microfauna that's more similar to their natural diet and just like fed it 3 times a day? And he's like, maybe.
Yeah.
But another piece of this thing is you got to remember we took it out of the ocean. You know, it sat in a holding facility. It flew over to LA in most cases, sat in a holding facility, ends up at your fish store, which is another holding facility. And by the time it's hit like all the end of that, it's already too late. Like its stomach's already descended and stuck and stops eating and it's over.
It needed to be in your hands straight out of the boat or wherever it came from, the plane.
Or at least in LA. Like you could, you know, you got like somebody that will go down there and down to one of the wholesalers, pick up the fish directly from there when it comes in and then ship it to you. Right. And there's a handful of different people that do that kind of thing. So like, hey, you know what? That's useful information. Like, if I really want to be a next level reefer and I want to do something that most people find challenging, I'm willing to feed 6 times a day. I also need to think about how do I source this pet, you know, properly. It's like, you know, like there's different ways to get a dog. You know, some of them better than other ones, right?
Right.
So, and honestly, some of the breeds are harder than other ones as well. Same case here. So, we're gonna do that. We're gonna find out what makes these fish really awesome, what makes them, like some tips about these things that like wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And we're gonna find out. So Elliot's gonna join us. I'm really excited about that one.
New faces, awesome.
Well, another new face, new CEO here at BRS.
Oh yes.
I know. I mean, like I can't imagine what everybody's thinking about
Can you
that one.
check the comments, Phil? They're kind of stalled out here. Let's see. All right, so we got Andrew, your partner, from the beginning. Decided that, you know,
Got 5 kids.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah. So we spent the better part of the last year trying to find the perfect fit. And Natalie, man, I spent probably 30 hours talking to her in the last couple of weeks, like just really soaking up the brain. She comes from a really cool world that like she has worked at Dell and HP. She worked at the digital portion of Office Depot, Petco. Most recently came from Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. And like understands enthusiast areas, man, where people get really excited about their hobbies, understand pets, understands, you know, digital media.
Yeah.
And I'm just super duper duper extra excited. And you know why I'm actually excited? Is because like in part of our 30 hours, she's like, hey, you know what I really want for you and Randy? I want you guys to be like fluid, like water. Like you just like take your brains wherever you want to go. I want you guys actually maybe to go create a off-site office where there's like a thumbprint machine and only you and Randy can get in there and like go test everything known to man and just create. And she actually kind of wants to change like BRS TV Investigates into like we're in charge of innovation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not just find out the information, but what do you do with it next?
Yeah, yeah.
And like, so I couldn't be more excited.
Hobby.
Yes, so hopefully maybe Natalie will
exciting.
join us in the future here because I don't know. Usually when I meet new people, like red flags go up for me and I'm like really looking for, do you really get what we're doing here? Yeah. In this case, man, like blew me away. So
Perfect
I'm really
fit.
excited.
Great fit.
All right.
All right.
Reef Pack.
All right. We're going to shout out a little member here, but what Ashley posted really got the gears turning. Go ahead. And so we have several Reef Pack members. You guys probably see them all over Instagram, all over the place. And this one popped up from Reefy.Reef. And
can you read this?
I cannot, but he'll make it bigger for us. But basically, first it opens with the hashtag of why reefing rocks, and who is it? Shar Buckles Reef I believe started this hashtag, but really it's kind of like all right, so what is basically like what does reefing mean to you? And Ashley shared. Thanks for reminding me that having a tank in my house offers a sense of peace and relaxation, but also lets my mind escape to a magical place in the ocean. It also sparks interest and wonder with my kids. Reefing also keeps me busy and always learning new things. This hobby has become a passion, and I see it. Everybody being the same with other people that get to share the hobby with, talk, reef, swap frags, and help each other out. So just kind of like, what does reefing mean to you? Hashtag why reefing rocks.
So this is why I pulled this one out, is it spoke to me.
Yeah.
This is like all the reasons I'm into this, man. Like I love learning about stuff. I love applying knowledge. I love sharing it with kids. In fact, really, really early on when we started doing BRS TV, I had a friend that teaches science in our local school, and he's like, dude, how do I get a reef tank in here? Because this seems like the perfect application of knowledge. Like I can't get people to understand precipitation, but when you wrap it around a reef tank, all of a sudden people really seem to get it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's this weird cross of, pet ownership and science and learning, like a never-ending journey because a lot of this stuff we still just don't know, and getting to share with other people. So I don't know. I thought that was a really cool one to share.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right.
By the way, go ahead.
Well, actually, so Reefy.Reef, I put her Instagram page down below. You can go give her a follow. But also, rep this, get this hashtag going, and actually, get a picture of your tank and what reefing means to you. Why reefing rocks? And we can blow up that little hashtag and share your personal journey, what reefing means to you.
Another Reef Pack guy, Greg Carrol threw one out here. So,
yeah, Greg Carrol.
I don't know.
This okay. So look at the tank that Greg has here. It's white as could be. We would call that like daylight almost. And he asked the question, do you run a white cycle during your lighting cycle, like to run the whites and get the pop with the blues? So basically turning it into like a 10K, maybe even 5K tank with the blues on there. So that way you get a little of the coral fluorescence, but is there any benefit to like bringing up the whites?
So this is why I pulled this one up. We should call it This Week in Reefing because I did this last week.
Yeah.
I didn't do exactly what he said, but like I've seen it a lot. Like WWC runs full spectrum, like a wider look in the morning, and then goes to just blue in the evening.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Or like I should say actually half the day.
I think it was like 7 hours of more like a 10, 12K, and then like 8 hours or 9 hours of straight deep blue. I think they were on for like 12 hours straight.
Well, that was a lot many.
That was a lot more hours than I did.
So anyway, it's about half and half.
Yeah.
But like then I started learning more about some other people who are doing it like slightly different way, which is like not just can I change the spectrum, which I'm not really sure, because basically let's assume that the par is similar.
Right.
I'm not really sure what adding, you know, more green and red, which is essentially what you're doing to get white.
To get white, yeah.
If that really does anything for the coral, because it's not really in the par zone as much as the blue, like by a great degree.
Oh, we're going to talk about that a bit
yeah,
too.
we'll talk about that in just a second too, yeah. But like I wasn't really sure. But on my own tank, I got a bunch of corals in there, and there are a lot of LPS corals. Some of them do really good in low light, and like really low light, and some a little higher. And I was noticing that some of them looked like they weren't getting enough light, you know, by stretching out and stuff. And some of them were looking like they're getting too much light from like bleaching. And I'm like, well, I wonder if the alternative to trying to find that balance, other than moving some of them around, is let's create some peaks through the day. And so instead of like trying to raise the par up, you know, from the 80 par there was at an average there to 175, what if I went 80 to 175 and then back down to 80 and up to 175 and back down to 80 and so on, you know, every couple of hours.
Yeah, I think this is David Saxby has a schedule that's really popular out there that does that same thing, goes up and then down and up and down and does that gradually. I think Greg Carrol, Greg, correct me if I'm wrong if you use that, but I've seen that David Saxby schedule all over the place.
Well, and like, dude, this is a little anecdotal, right? Because nobody has proven any one of these things. But
right.
You go out in the wild, and you definitely see clouds and weather and all kinds of things. Like the par, absolutely turbidity goes up and down throughout the day, you know, based on all kinds of different things.
Right.
And so the thought process is kind of like, how do I turbocharge for photosynthesis and then give it a break, allow the coral to free itself of the excess oxidants, and then crank it back up. Maybe when I'm cranking it back up, I'm helping build those photosynthetic pigments that it's theorized to like help protect itself from the sun, but we like because they glow.
And then like, what interval is do they need to like, if that is happening, what's the interval? Is it 30 minutes? Is it an hour? Is it 2 hours in between high and low peaks? You know what we need is one of those tools that Dana Riddle has, that
a PAM fluorometer.
Yeah, fluorometer, the PAM fluorometer.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I actually keep meaning to beg him to come out here and not only buy one, teach us how to use it.
Yeah.
I think he might do it too. So maybe we'll see that come up. Well, anyway, so if you follow some of the Reef Pack members out there, this is the kind of stuff you get to see. Yeah. And so I encourage you to go do it. All right, so Investigates this week, right? I'm gonna lean forward because I'm pretty excited.
It was cool. We got it right here. This is the thumbnail. If you didn't go check it out, it's out there. 6 pros versus a par meter. We put the human eye to the test.
Okay, so here's the thing: is there some things out there where you're like, I know what best practice is, but I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And of course, the par meter is better than doing it by eye, but like. As a frustration from my standpoint, I know full well 90% of reefers are just doing it by eye.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Or borrowing somebody's schedule and then just
guessing.
Guessing.
You know, nobody really knows. Okay, so like what you're going to see is, or what you saw is, sometimes it works.
Yep.
Sometimes it doesn't. And the problem is like you go on the internet and you go to a favorite forum or group or whatever, and there'll be 15 people that raise their hand and say, I did it and my tanks thrives. And then the people that didn't are quiet about it. They don't tell you that I did it and killed everything.
Or you can't identify that is your problem. Like you set the lights, you think it's good, looks good to my eye, doesn't look too bright, doesn't look too dim, and I just can't figure out why that coral's not thriving. I'm feeding, I'm doing this, I'm doing 2-part, I'm doing trace elements, why isn't it working? Could be your lights.
Okay, so the other thing is like I saw a comment in here, and this one actually irritates me the most. I'm sorry to the person who wrote it. But like, it says, well, what I do is I watch for the health of the animal, and you know, he didn't say animal, but and then I'll just adjust to it until it looks good. I'm like, Well, that'd be like, I'm going to stop feeding Randy until he's so skinny that he's withering away and he's showing it in his health. Then I'll start feeding him more.
Yeah.
And then I'm actually going to go the other way until he's such a piggy that like he's super unhealthy too. Until finally we find the right balance in the middle. Like, I mean, I obviously do know it myself, by the way. But like, here's the problem, man, is that is clear, that's a way. But nobody in their right mind would say that is the best way.
Well, it's the same thing with your dogs, too. Dogs and cats. You wouldn't do that to them.
No,
Yeah.
nobody did that.
Yeah.
So, like, here's the thing is, what we found out of it was no question that using a par meter is way better.
Bring up this, this is the final, who can guess par by eye, the final tally.
Yeah.
Out of 6, there was 0, there was 1.
That was 10 out of 36, I think, were
Yeah.
able to get it. And these are pros.
And these are like 20% ranges, meaning like, yeah, it was 250, but you were within 20% of that over or under.
Okay.
So, pros.
And the thing about it, too, is all of the, like, I mean, these are people that have set up tanks. Like, Jen set up tanks for a living for decades. We got the guy that's done all of the BRStv testing here. Like, he tests par for a living, right? He got 0 of the tunes right. Or maybe it was a 1, I think, actually. But, like, here's that fact. It's just, like, it's just a giant pain in the butt, and it just doesn't work, man. So, here's the real thing, dude. What was got kind of fun is we learned not just like a statement of course, the eye is poor at this, which we've all said. You know, we all know the eye is a bad tool for this. But
if pros can't do it,
well, what we got is the anatomy of the human eye and why.
Rods and cones.
Okay, so there's 2 pieces to it. And it's interesting because like when you really dive into it, you have that iris of your eye, and you think about it as your pupil, but it's actually the colored part. Yeah. The colored part of your eyes is the part that's going in,
opens.
like a curtain, right? Yeah. And if you think about it, like you just don't think about it this way. But if you walk around and there's bright rooms, there's dark rooms, it's bright outside, it's dark in your garage, whatever, and you kind of perceive a little bit of that. But your eye is intentionally like trying to make it all look the same.
The same, yeah.
Yeah, it's all trying to make it visible, and it will open its little, curtain, your blue curtain or brown curtain, and let more light in to make it look brighter. And then when it's too bright, it'll shrink it all up and it'll try to prevent light from coming in, which means that it was really, really hard for all of these people to come in and guess the par. And what we did is we made them leave the room between each guess.
Into like a dark conference room,
Yeah. And so if I had high and low par and I was like scaling it in front of you, you would know which dark is and what bright is.
And I can make a guess.
But like with Jason, man, he'd come in and you wouldn't know. So his eye has to readjust to the light each time. And he couldn't tell the difference between 25% intensity and 100.
Yeah, they were both like almost spot on the same.
Yeah, because his eye readjusted to it.
Yeah.
Okay, then the other part that like I'd heard this before, but I didn't understand the like science behind it, which was green. Eye perceives green as brightness, right? Okay, and so like I knew that to be the case, and why like a aqua blue special light is like brighter looking than a AB plus light, even though that it's actually lower par.
Yeah.
But what I didn't perceive was that the green spectrum, there's like cones in the back of your eyes.
Check this out. We got it.
We got it right here?
Got it right here.
Okay, so there's these cones in the back of your eye, and green is your eyes is super sensitive to green. And so if you look at this, and look at the comparison between the cone in the back of your eye of blue versus green.
Yeah.
It's like 5 times as sensitive, the green. Okay, so this is where it comes together.
Yeah.
So if you turned on just like the green lights in your average LED, the tank actually looks pretty bright. And there's only like 2 LEDs in there that are doing it, right?
Yeah, so 2 3-watt LEDs versus 2 3-watt blue LEDs.
Would look like it's off almost.
I
It
know.
was only 2 blue LEDs, but that's actually way more par and the same amount of light, but our eyes just don't perceive it. So when you look at those deep blue tanks, they actually are really high par most of the time, but it looks dim because our eye's anatomy is designed to underrepresent blue light.
You know what this brings up is how many times have people asked if adding lunar lights, which are blue, would affect the PAR in the tank. And now you think about it, at night when those blue lights are on, it looks super dim. But I wonder what the PAR is in comparison.
You know, most of those things are like little 1-watt LEDs are barely turned on to add a little bit of sparkle.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting question. The also question you asked me earlier was like, well, why doesn't it then green add PAR, to it?
Yeah.
And like, well, first off, if you ever seen a PAR map, you would see that it's all like the blue range that adds PAR. There's a little bit other places, but like there's a big giant peak where it's the most efficient in blue.
Yeah, the difference between our 20K setting, which was super blue, and our 10K setting, which was feel like daylight, was the super blue, which looks dark to my eye because it's blue, was on average like 50 to 60 PAR higher, more PAR than the 10K setting. Really interesting.
Okay, so here's the thing, is that the xanthelle in the coral actually absorb light really well in that blue range.
Right.
And why doesn't it absorb green? Like, this is like a mind bender for a lot of people. But I ask people all the time, like, why is a leaf on a tree green? Why do you perceive it as green?
Because it was reflecting it back at you. It's not using it.
It's taking a full spectrum light from the sun, absorbing most of it, turning it into energy, and then reflecting the green back at your eye.
Because it doesn't need it.
And by reflecting means it's not using it. It's
Yeah.
reflecting it back out. And the reason that we perceive it as green is because it is not using the green. It's reflecting it at our eyes. And so that's the exact reason why it's not actually providing a lot of energy to the coral as well.
Interesting.
So yeah, I don't know. You just keep learning more and more about how we perceive all of these things.
Well, this is also going to open up other investigate tests. If you think if you see this is not the end of PAR, this is not the end of those color differences, and what is the difference between red and blue mixed together to make purple versus violet, which is true, in that spectrum range. Same thing with mixing green and red versus white or yellow. Yeah.
Now, so you might think that you saw yellow, but also, and you might have seen yellow spectrum light, but you also might have just seen a mix of green and red, which makes yellow.
It's the way your eye works.
Yeah, is that thing that you see more commonly what you just mentioned, which is UV or violet. There is a UV or violet spectrum that LEDs permit.
Yep.
Or emit. But there's also just the mix of blue and red, which looks the same.
Yeah.
But it's not the same at all. But our eyes trick us and perceive us. But that's the point of the whole thing, is when we go look at it and anybody says, I can measure PAR, well, I mean, there are people out there that probably can do it to some degree who have been reefing for 30 years and they've tested it with a PAR and with a meter and they've just
especially if you've been comfortable with and exposed to the light on your tank for so long, I can make those
actually
changes.
have had the meter at that point in time, at some point in time, to know what the reference point was to measure against.
Yeah. But if I come into a room and lights that I've never adjusted before, it's difficult.
Sometimes you can tune to what you know to be pretty close to a safe range, but you never know what the PAR was really. All right, so here's the nut in all this. Our primary goal here is help all of you guys be successful. Help achieve your dreams. If you do, hopefully you buy some from us someday. But if we help you achieve your dreams, have really awesome corals, the fewest possible struggles, well, I don't know. That's our goal here.
If you can't read it by eye, then you have to have a tool.
Yeah, okay. So there's two pieces of this. Well,
yes.
One, just accept it. It's real that a bigger portion of people will be helped and will have higher success rates if you're measuring rather than guessing. Watch the video because it's unmistakable.
Yep.
All right. But in the past, these things were $500, which is also not
It's
reasonable.
ridiculous. Yeah.
Right?
I spend $500 to set my lights once, and then check them maybe years later.
It's just such an impossible hurdle to get over.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Even though I mean, it's you only have to lose a couple of corals for that to have been a dumb move, right? But
Right.
it's still just a really hard hurdle to get over. So you saw us rent them a while ago.
Yep, challenges.
How do we get rid of the barriers? Like, there's a knowledge piece to this, but how do we get to like the actual barriers, which is like in some cases a wallet, right?
Yeah, right.
So how do we get past the fact I want to spend $500? We did some renting stuff. Behind the scenes, I'll tell you, there's a couple of pain in the ass. You don't know, you don't think about this stuff until you get into it, but
Legal issues,
the legal
50
issues with renting to 50 different states and complying with 50 different states ain't worth it.
There's only one, like I said earlier, there's only one company that I can think of that does that very well, and massive company, U-Haul. We rent in different states.
Okay, there's got to be a better or different solution.
Yeah, for us, that was not the right.
The second piece of this was that
Oh, you get it for 2 weeks.
you get it for like 2 weeks, but it's like in transit, and like, okay, maybe I could set it up once, but I couldn't like retune it. Maybe like the sand gets dirty and it changes it, or maybe like I'm trying to figure out whether or not 75 or the low end or 150 the high end of my LPS range is right for me, or the same thing with the SPS.
I mean, it's a big undertaking. When you and I went to WWC, it took 2 of us and photos and going to different spots and writing down par, and like, not everybody has the time or the ability to do that.
The reality is we're always going to be guessing, and you're always going to be moving some corals around because there isn't like a specific, like for sure this is the number everywhere it should be.
Right.
It's a range where there's really high success rates in, right? So if you're in this range, you're almost certainly going to be good. But I'm still guessing a little bit in here, but now I'm making informed guesses.
Yeah.
I'm deciding whether or not I want to be charged the low end or the high end. And so what we're doing now, and we haven't really talked about this yet, is now you can buy a par meter from us and keep it for 2 months.
And then return it.
And return it, even if you used it the entire time.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. So it's like, what, 20% restocking fee? So
Yep.
slightly more than renting it, but 60 days I get to hold on to this thing.
Okay, so it's still $100,
Yeah.
right? Because it's a 20% restocking fee to put it back in. But you know what? Like, to get something this valuable, like what's it? A single coral's $100.
Oh, easy.
Right? So to get something this valuable, use it for 2 months and then send it back and only have cost. It's like an 80% reduction from what it would have cost to do it the other way, and you have plenty of time to do it. It's perfect.
But your trajectory to success, because you measured your lights,
Nah, I don't know. Like, this is obviously a huge loser, because even if you're like, oh, well, you guys made $100. No, we didn't, because we're just going to go into open box and they're going to sell them there.
discount.
Like, so this is just a service.
So if you want, if you're looking for a par meter of your own just to buy, there's probably going to be a bunch in open box after a while.
I think there'll be a steady stream of 20 slightly used 20% off par meters as well. So yeah, I don't know. So I think when you talk about reefing, and actually, this kind of comes together. Like, Natalie was asking about the innovation department.
Yeah.
I mean, innovation could be information, but it can also be like, how do you solve actual issues? Which is like, one of these is like, who wants to spend $500 on a meter you're going to use once?
Not me.
No, nobody.
I don't.
Like, very few people. Although I gotta tell you, like, open and honest, half the people keep them. Because you're like, you know what? I got more than one tank. I change my lights out. I tune them. I just enjoy having this tool.
They want to help their friends, their reefing buddies. Yeah.
Yeah, but you made an informed decision after using it for a while. Like, you know what? This is actually a valuable tool. So Greg actually, he had texted me the other day because he had rented one.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, hey, do people really send this back? That's funny. And the answer is, I think about half of people send it back, and half, set up their lights, set it up once. But it, I think it's like 13% of BRS reefers have 5 or more tanks. So it's just kind of like an ongoing thing. So those people are probably keeping them for sure.
That's funny.
So I don't know. Is there any questions that came up throughout today's?
One of the ones that I saw was talking about Keith Reef Bum and why he didn't join. Actually,
No, he did.
we're sponsoring his channel. So watch for us and Ecotech on Keith's channel, sponsoring him because we love what he's doing at Reef Bum and talking rapping with Reef Bum, his live streams and his content. Love it. So we're gonna sponsor him.
Yeah, and so it would actually straight up when we talked to him, he's like, hey, you know what, man? I think that my content is really like best left on my channel, but I'd love it if you sponsored us. And we said, of course.
Absolutely. 100%. He gets some, Keith gets some great names on his Rapping with Reef Bum. Some big names. I've seen Julian Sprung on there. I've seen Mike Paletta on there. I've seen Dr. Sanjay. I've seen just all kinds of guests, big name guests.
It's really cool how many people say yes. In fact, when you're like, hey, can you sponsor? It's like, you know what would be better than if we sponsored you? Is let's go find another sponsor and make even more money, because like this is really expensive hobby. It's expensive as a content creator. And so Ecotech joined in with us as well, and they're going to sponsor them as well. And so, I don't know. Good news for Reef Bump.
Yeah. Not much else in that. There's people that was just loving that we picked up Matthew, my first fish tank. People loving that we picked up Remy. Both of those guys were here earlier, so glad to have you guys aboard. I think people want to see what's in the box.
Oh, in the box. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh man.
Okay.
All right, guys. Oh, so shout out to
Kyle
Elder.
Yeah, again, so I get all kinds of cool stuff.
And
I get
he built
cups,
a bunch of the stiff stuff for the set.
everything behind us up here he's built. And he knows
People
that
sending
I wear
gifts.
hats all the time, and he sent me the craziest hat I've ever seen in my life. And when I saw Louis Vuitton, I don't know if anybody's ever been in a Louis Vuitton store or how many of you are, but it's like fashion runway stuff that like isn't really meant for everyday wear in most cases. So here we are. I'm gonna call it.
There's guesses here.
Okay.
Well, some people were saying, is it a Louis Vuitton pump?
Okay. What do you guys think it is?
I know what it is.
It is the craziest looking thing. So thank you very much. I don't know where I'm gonna wear this thing. I have no idea. But ta-da! It's like
Chrome.
the space helmet Louis Vuitton hat.
Chrome dome.
All right, dude. I gotta wear it.
All right. Oh, you gotta put it on backwards too.
Yeah, well, yeah, you gotta rock it.
Reminds me of that one meme. There was a meme back in the day. No, put it forward.
All right, forward. All right,
well,
there we go. So new cool stuff shows up every day. If you want to send us new stuff, send us like all kinds of. If you got new products you want to send us from manufacturers, send us one. Or You know, a lot of 3D printers out there.
All you have to do. There's an address, the Bulk Reef Supply address at the bottom of our website. You can put it to Randy. You can put it to Ryan. I will probably get both of those. And send us something cool. This one, Kyle Elder just outdid himself on this
Not
one.
only is this the coolest, funniest thing, you know what he actually has sent me the nicest gift of all time.
Oh, the turtle.
The turtle. So for those of you who don't know, I used to play EverQuest a lot because I'm a super nerd. And I used to kill this one turtle called Lotazil all the time, and it actually helped me make a living.
He got you a full print.
Yeah, he had this like somebody do a whole giant print because he knew of the story, and sent me this big picture with it. I'll try to share it later, but. Yeah, I don't know. Thank you, Kyle, man.
I wouldn't
watch
for Louis Vuitton hats on the swag this Black Friday. I just don't know if we'll make that happen.
My wife thought this was hilarious too. I don't know. It's very fun. All right, thank you guys.
All right, guys.
Next week we're gonna try to find a little deeper into this week in reefing and just keep exploring new things.
Yeah, and we'll have the live stream fixed too. Promise.
All right.